Welcome, welcome. So we want to talk about how our bodies need cleaning. Spring cleaning, our brains, our bodies, our homes. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we get rid of stagnation and stress in our bodies more than anything. But we're going to make sure we touch on some points of how it's always important to just clean our bodies. They need to be cleaned. Our hope is that we can address that there's more sunshine, and how are you supposed to help your mental game with sunshine? What actions, can you take to hopefully boost mood, boost your wellness during the springtime? And what are some things you can do to improve your overall health in the spring? Now we're going to jump into the regulation of your body. One of my favorite sayings, that thoughts are things. We talk about this quite often in the sense that what we think about and think about, we bring about. So our thoughts are definitely things. Repetitive thoughts create neural pathways. We just learned today with some research they did at Johns Hopkins that dementia is reversible. It's crazy that people can't believe, and this is not through drugs. This is through exercise, really. But the right brain stimulation can rewire pathways, and it's mostly your cerebellum, which is balance and coordination. So we are learning all about that. And when you get adjusted, we stimulate your cerebellum every single time. But dementia is definitely reversible. And that's because your brain is plastic. It is changeable. No matter how deteriorated it may be, it can still change. So repetitive thoughts create neural pathways. Repetitive actions create neural pathways. The lack of motion can create the loss of pathways. So remember that. So winter can be really rough. I can't tell you how many patients have come to my office and say, I just hate this. Up and down, the weather is cold and it's hot. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Isolation, just negative memories can be part of that. Lack of vitamin D is a biggie. There's no one probably in Ohio that gets enough sun. So understanding that this seasonal affective disorder can definitely make it challenging to stay positive. If you're not spent, winter thinking less than optimal, you're not alone. This is basically something that you have to establish some new habits. And that's what we want to talk about a little bit of. How do we start the habits properly? 40% of Americans report that their mood declines in the winter. 5% experience seasonal affective disorder. But mood is definitely affected. SAD, or seasonal affective disorder, is a form of depression, winter depression. And there's many reasons for that, but that's very, very common. Your subconscious and your conscious minds are constantly working. Einstein said that your conscious mind is a wonderful servant, but a horrible master. Your conscious mind, what we try to think about and deal with and create solutions to our problems in our own conscious mind, ultimately is the whole reason we've created those problems, is our conscious mind. So our conscious mind is very helpful, but it shouldn't be running the show. We want to rewire our subconscious mind. We want the program in the background to be running before we've even thought about or reacted to different situations. So when subconscious thoughts, they're impacted by our upbringing, our habits, our personality, different traumas we've had. Those neural pathways are very much ingrained, and most of our subconscious in our bodies is not, if it hasn't changed, is because we're not retraining it. Your brain is a muscle that needs retraining. But our subconscious thoughts are probably solidified by the time we're 8 to 12 years old. A lot of our subconscious. Your conscious thoughts, they're what you hear. It's what you're constantly paying attention to. And these are definitely linked to chemicals that reinforce more of the same thought. That's why we say you can't fix a problem in the same condition that created it. So how do we start cleaning this up? We tend to refresh our homes in the spring. It's getting nicer. And I know your yard's probably gotten all kinds of sticks and leaves. There's things blowing all over the place. It needs to start to get cleaned up. All the dead debris that's been blown around and decaying over the winter needs to be cleaned up. Our bodies can get in the same problems, the same habits, the same cycles that we see in our environment happen in our bodies. We have cycles. Everyone has cycles in our bodies, at least sleep cycles. Women have monthly cycles. There are cycles, and those cycles where we need to support a cleansing and rebirth of our bodies. The joke would be, what cleaning products do we use for our brain? If we need to clean it up, what do we use for our brain? Well, if we're not using holistic approaches, then you might have medicines to try to help clean your brain, but really they're not cleaning anything other than helping you to ignore the mess. Certain medicines will basically just help you to put things into the drawers and in the closets so that it looks clean on the surface, but you still have the problems lurking in the house. So how do we really cleanse the whole house? Gratitude is one of the best ways to do that. Practicing gratitude is an amazing all-in-one approach to helping clean our bodies, our brains, and our minds of stress. So research has revealed that the amazing results when gratitude is practiced on a regular basis. So the psychological approach approach to cleaning your brain and your house? Gratitude. We're going to talk a little bit about that right now. Gratitude is the ability to look first at what is good and working in our lives without minimizing or denying the hardships that are also present. This doesn't to just mean, oh, everything's fine, everything's all good, I'm so happy, even though there are struggles. Reminding yourself that these struggles are real, but there are some silver linings to these, that there are still things to be grateful for. This is being present, this is being in the moments. There's a book that it's a journey that will change your life. It's Gratitude, and the author is right there on your screen there, and she is a great book to read, but Gratitude is all about trying to take the first attempt to be grateful, no matter the situations, but not minimizing or denying the hardships that are present. What's the research show us about a gratitude practice? Dozens of studies in very diverse patient groups have shown that the practice of gratitude can lead to the following: increased feeling of energy, alertness, and enthusiasm. Success in achieving personal goals is increased, better coping with stress, the bolstered feelings of self-worth, self-confidence, generosity, and helpfulness are increased when you have gratitude practices, and even your cardiac health has improved. A greater sense of purpose and resilience, they're huge. But gratitude isn't. It is not what we've achieved or know to do. It's not we hit this goal. That's not necessarily gratitude. Gratitude is not the same as being thankful. It's not easy for those who deal with emotional stresses, mental stresses, physical, spiritual, or financial struggles to feel gratitude. That is not the case. It is truly able to happen, but it's not just because you struggle you can't have gratitude. That's not true. It's not the same with all cultures either. Culturally, gratitude can be different, shown differently. What it is linked to our ability to express happiness and well-being. It's a way to foster more mindfulness and present moment living. It's a good practice for those who have, experienced trauma because it leads to a post-traumatic growth. Like I said, your subconscious has programs. They're running all the time. In certain situations, we'll turn different programs on, or you could almost think of it as reading the script for that issue. Those are programmed and happening at such a rate that your subconscious mind will send signals throughout your body so much faster than you can imagine to think them. Your conscious brain is like dial-up internet. That's your conscious mind compared to the high-speed, 1,001 gig lines that they have now. That's your subconscious. Your subconscious reacts so quickly because it's pre-programmed, and your body has pathways that it's ready. So we need to do post-traumatic growth. We need to start to retrain our brains with reshaping that plastic ability of our brains. And gratitude is one of the easiest and simplest ways to do that. Another quote here is that gratitude is important not only because it's helpful, for us to feel good, but it's also because it helps us to do good. Doing good is one of the innate things that has been built into us as human beings that gives us more than just a quick pleasure. It gives us true happiness. And when we have gratitude, it's easier to do good. Science confirms that life-giving practice of gratitude broadens our lives by enabling healing of the past, a commitment in the present, and delivering hope for the future. That is gratitude as in a summed up sentence. While it's not wintertime, springtime has its challenges too, because we've got rainy days typically, allergies can be in there, they can be a huge drag on people. And it's important to be prepared for the season. Ways to clean your brain, your body, and your home are all about being grateful. Now, and as a quick plug to our naturopath, he has some wonderful homeopathic remedies for those allergies. So if people are trying to stay away from the medications because of their side effects, we have homeopathic, they're sprays for like grass, pollens, animal dander, trees, and those can be somewhat helpful along with another supplement or two that helps to remove histamine in a natural way. So if we can help our bodies to do the cleaning with a little support, then it's not getting bogged down by chemicals that then we have to detoxify from. So I just remember that. So how do you practice gratitude? Now let's aim for once or twice a week to start. That's what I would say, once or twice a week to start. Now some people, in my experience, if you set a goal to do once or twice a week, we usually don't meet our goal, so maybe we do once, or we could do 0. So I might also suggest for someone who can handle this and not be overwhelmed, practice it every day. 1 minute, 2 minutes, easy, every day. Because what if you fail every day? There's a chance you might still make 4, which is a lot more than 2. So the numbers game in trying to help habits is to set yourself up for routines you can do every day. What are some of the prompts that can help some of this? Something beautiful I saw yesterday or today, depending on, if you're journaling at night, wonderful for cleaning the mind. We like the brain dump sometimes in nighttime. The gratitude journal I like to start the day with. I like to prime my brain for positivity and service. And if my brain is already going toward things that are stressing me out, then my brain's already kind of primed to be in that subconscious stress mode. So I like gratitude in the morning and I like a brain dump at night because that day's happened. Let's kind of cleanse the palate and get rid of it on the paper. So if you're talking about journaling practice, gratitude I love for the morning. So you ask yourself, what was something beautiful I saw yesterday? What's a lesson I learned yesterday? What's the best part, of today going to be? You could even project into the future, like we said, something profound, that I learned. Again, prompts are huge. So if you need to, get online, say, what are some journaling prompts for gratitude? And just print them out, have it ready so you don't have to think about it. Because if you have to think about it, again, you're going to start to have reasons that it's stressful, you don't have enough time, I can't think of anything. You give yourself the ways that it's all set up and it will only take a moment to write some of these things down. Breath work can be another very beneficial mindfulness practice that you can bring right along with gratitude. You can envision the things you're grateful for. You can kind of mantra those things. But, as long as you're breathing, there's something to be grateful for. So just pause, take a deep breath and say, I'm just grateful for this moment that I can breathe. Exhale and do that again. And throughout your day, you can do this in seconds or minutes, but the breath just slows us down. It just slows us down and helps to cleanse our lungs and our body. Connection is huge. If you can experience this with others or paying it forward to even random acts of kindness to people you don't know, it intensifies the gratitude and the impression that your brain is making on reshaping your conscious and subconscious minds. We consider writing a letter to someone. When you express gratitude, this creates feedback when you give it to other people. It's that, when you pay things forward, this releases serotonin, enhances positive moods. In relation, and in part of this in the spring cleaning method, we love movement. Again, we said this. If I could do one thing, I would do gratitude exercises. Second, I'd move. The research shows that regular movement enhances the neuroplasticity of your brain. If dementia is reversible through movement, then that means that anytime we're moving without having even dementia, we are preventing the onset of challenges in our body and our brain and removing where those stored traumas are actually, they're finding more and more, maybe even in the cerebellum, which is your movement centers, is going to be changed with movement. So move. Nutrition. Anti-inflammatory foods mean clean foods, vegetables. Vegetables, very anti-inflammatory. Fruits can be to some degree. Healthy fats, very helpful. Clean protein. These can all reduce pain and brain fog and inflammation in the brain, which makes it harder to be grateful when our brain is inflamed. So the less of that systemic inflammation means that your adjustment itself holds longer and you adjust better when you're here. Decluttering is a great tool that can be used to not only just tidy up and so things look better, but it really does affect your brain. There are some people who have found this is the way that they release dopamine. So they want to clean constantly. And when there's more stress, they clean more because it does release dopamine. But when an environment is dirty, there is some part of our brains that's distracted, that's pulled away from who we are, and it makes us less mindful and in the moment. So your brain is constantly scanning the environment. And a clutter in your home it looks like unfinished tasks, which elevates stress hormones and keeps your nervous system in a low-grade stress state even when you're sleeping. There's always that statement that if first thing you should ever do in the morning is make your bed, you've accomplished one thing in life. In that day, you've at least made your bed. But just think about how your brain getting into that bed that was made has no clutter there, at least in that situation. Where an unmade bed, your brain is kind of starting a stress response because of that clutter. Our brains like order. They like organization. And our spaces need to be clean too. Know how that affects the toxins in our environment. Get some fresh air. I ask our team, what is something that is a habit you never want to stop? And my wife would always say getting outside. Indoor air is dirty. It's just dirty. We recycle our air. It costs way too much money to bring clean air in and filter it and then put it in your house. So we have a lot of stagnant, dirty air. Your dust mites are floating around. If you've got animals, you got more of that going on. Molds are very likely to grow in almost everyone's home to some degree, know it or not. And so we need to clean that air. Open those windows, let things flush out. The allergies on the outside could be challenging to you. Again, ask us about some natural remedies, but if your body's that sensitive, that means there's other things going on. So cleaning those out, keeping air filters in your bedrooms, huge. You can look into the Lessening Allergy Symptoms workshop workshop that we did to learn more about that. I'd love if you guys could type in any takeaways that you have from today. You can share them with us and share them with others. I guess the more important thing that I have is I'd love you to share with others what you've learned, because a group of people who are more gracious are more grateful, and those people start to make a movement toward other folks. So we want to be that for you here. Let's clean our minds by getting rid of the stress and bringing graciousness and gratitude to the front. You guys have a good night. Bye, everybody.